What's going on, everyone? So far from season 3, really been about information, kind of giving us some insight ever since Tabitha advanced to the real world. And her running into Henry, obviously Henry doesn't have all the answers and is really kind of ignorant about the whole situation. He only knows what his wife has relayed to him, Miranda, when she was around, and then just the artwork and various things like the bottle tree that he can kind of go off of, try to give Tabitha as much information as possible. But one of the things that Henry relayed about the start of it all was that they took psychedelics. He relayed that, hey, they, got out of their party days, had kids, were trying to settle down, and then it was his 35th birthday. Miranda was kind of like, hey, let's live a little, right? Let's celebrate a little bit. And they ended up doing some psychedelics, and then that's where the visions and everything started to come awry, right? We find out that Miranda is a chosen one, and that all of the chosen ones have failed up until the point of Tabitha. That Tabitha is now the chosen one that is destined to try to free the children and try to get everybody home. That's the idea, that's the concept. And Tabitha, she doesn't really get these crazy... She had the visions of the kids, but she's not getting the visions in the way that Miranda did. About, just... Like, Miranda had this, remote viewing element to it, where she could see the town, the people. She could go and see, little details, as you could see by her paintings, right? Like, she was able to draw a colony house and see soldiers, and all kinds of different little aspects of Fromville, right? It wasn't just like with Tabitha, where she just kind of sees the children and that's basically it, right? Like, obviously she saw the boy in white and stuff, but Tabitha regularly, it sounds like, was getting these visions. And we don't know how... Was she able to kind of initiate the visions, or was it something that just kind of came independently? Was it something where she could just take psychedelics regularly and she could go to this place, right? And, you look at from Henry's perspective, he's probably looking at it as like, yeah, I mean, of course you saw, people take shrooms and find God, right? Of course you saw stuff. But it became this obsession for Miranda. And now you're seeing Tabitha trying to gain some answers, and they were headed to potentially find some answers, and it got abruptly stopped. Now, Tabitha and Henry are both expected to be back in Fromville, and that now kind of puts Tabitha in a position to where it's like, okay, well, now what? Right? How do you start solving these things? How do you find those answers? How do you end up getting yourself to a place similar to Miranda, right? Well, maybe you got to get high, right? Maybe you got to take some psychedelics. Maybe you got to do some stuff. Now, I'm sure that there's not just shrooms and, acid and stuff just lying around Fromville. But who knows what is out there? Who knows if there is something that maybe she can kind of dabble in? Maybe she can discover, maybe she could find to kind of give her more detailed visions and kind of open the third eye, so to speak, to potentially unlock some things. Also, you do have the drugs from the ambulance that she's currently in that's going to return to Fromville, but also the medicine that's in the medicine cabinet. Is there some stuff that can maybe give her a trip? To where maybe it could kind of just lay back, give yourself a self-induced psychedelic adventure, maybe develop some answers, right? Because again, Miranda knew a lot about that place. A lot. And everything that Victor relays is always about his mother. My mother used to say this. My mother knew, his mother knew about the trees, knew about people that were there before they were even there. She knew about, Colony House, all this stuff. How long was Colony House around for? Because she drew pictures, Victor was a little kid. I mean, Colony House, it doesn't look that, is it really 40, 50 plus years old? Because Miranda was drawing it before they ever even went there, right? So you see things that Miranda was able to unlock. I hope that they don't take out Henry yet. right? Like, at some point they probably are going to, but I hope we get a little more insight. Maybe Henry can kind of help Victor remember some stuff, because that's something that has kind of been a point throughout this season of, like, Victor needs to start unlocking things, and you get the little teaser where he's like, it's never snowed here ever, right? Like, all of that stuff, right? So maybe Henry can kind of unlock and help some memories, and maybe we can find out, like, because it doesn't sound like Miranda asked a ton of questions. I mean, we don't know when the cameras aren't on, so to speak, right? Like, so it's very possible that she did. We know that she spent all night in the basement, just kind of going over all the pictures and just kind of retaining as much information as she possibly could. But I would have asked stuff like, hey, was Miranda, like, every time she had these visions and was able to paint this stuff, was she high? Right? Like, did she start to get more and more into psychedelics, more and more into drugs to kind of open things? Or was she able to do it sober completely? Because, like, again, Tabitha didn't complete the quest. She didn't go and save the children, right? She got pushed out and brought there for a reason. And her being the chosen one, she's not seeing all these intricate details of Fromville and knowing all the only thing she saw and learned were about the children. Outside of that, she's pretty ignorant about the whole situation, right? She's very ignorant about just everything that's going on and what her path is and what she's supposed to do and how she can find things and that. So maybe it is something where she has to go on these trips, right? Get into that medicine cabinet and see what you can get. You also don't want, her kind of getting addicted, and you already have the drug addict that's recovering and stuff. So that could add a journey and adventure in and of itself, but it could add a very interesting element to it. And, imagine if that's how she's able to kind of solve some of this puzzle. It's like, I gotta take this morphine that we have left, and it's just a little bottle, little amount. She's like popping, she's getting it in every time she can. And then, before like the final piece that she needs, maybe they run out, and now she's got to try to figure it out herself. She's got to try to figure it out without the drugs. Like, it could add an interesting point, an interesting element, because again, like Henry said, that's how this all began, right? And they did the drugs at the other bottle tree. So you have a character in Miranda who seemed to have information about Fromville like no other. She seemed to have information and details on Fromville like she had lived there for years before she actually went there. And again, you can see it in her artwork. You see it in the drawings. She was drawing, like, there are pictures of just everything. Like, details literally of Fromville, characters of Fromville, right? And how much of that was through psychedelic trips? How much of that was just through her natural, kind of being able to tap in? Because that's something that would be very interesting to know, right? Like, was she able to just kind of go there, right? Like, I've compared it to remote viewing a lot, because it really is. Like, if you just look up the definition of remote viewing, it's trying to see something, details of a place, a person without physically being there. And that's what she was doing. She was remote viewing by definition. But, the concept that many people have of remote viewing is that you can basically trigger it, right? Even though a lot of cases, right? You look at, like, even real world cases, like the 9/11 thing. There were people that had remote viewing experiences that they were never able to replicate it after that. And, we've heard stories of, like, remote viewers and stuff helping, the FBI or police departments and stuff like that. So, it is a skill that has at least been explored by different agencies and in our world, not just in the movie world. But, a lot of people think it's something that you can turn on and off. Like, I wonder, is that the case? Could she just kind of, instead of taking psychedelics, could she just kind of meditate and get there? Right? Like, kind of just astral projection right? Like, was she able to do something like that where she could almost like just send herself there? Or was it something that just happened randomly? Was it something that she had no real control over? It would just pop up, right? Can Miranda or can Tabitha get there, right? Like, could Tabitha maybe start exploring different ways to kind of unlock these visions and these memories of Fromville, this past, right? Like, to where, maybe she can meditate. Maybe she doesn't need psychedelics. Maybe Tabitha is, because there seems to be this connection between the Chosen Ones and Fromville. And it's just like, it seems like Miranda, again, we don't know the details of the ones before her, but Miranda really seemed very in tune, really seemed to be able to she was really learning almost about it and growing, almost like a gift that you just, you keep working on, a skill that you just keep working on. Can Tabitha maybe potentially start doing that? She start maybe meditating and kind of have this way of connecting to Fromville, and maybe go through the caves and the tunnels without actually having to, right? Like, there's a lot of things that you could kind of benefit if she's able to do something like that. It could be very interesting. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that, like, have her take psychedelics? You think that that's the approach, that's the way to go? You think, no, maybe you can just do something where, meditation or something like that to kind of get your answers and get to the places that you need to get to. Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.